The Early Adventures. Introduction. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. John Watson first entered into the public consciousness in 1887, when the novel A Study in Scarlet was published in England in Beeton's Christmas Annual. The story also featured two hapless inspectors, Gregson and Lestrade of Scotland Yard, along with Holmes's gang of informal assistants, the Baker Street Irregulars. It wasn't a great success, but luckily found favor with the editor of Lippincott's magazine in the United States, who published The Sign of Forth 3 years later. A common device within the canon is established in A Study in Scarlet when American Jefferson Hope scrawls out the word Rache, revenge, in his own blood, having come to England seeking vengeance. Stories that begin in foreign lands must be unraveled and concluded by Holmes in London. Watson too sees himself washed up into the great cesspool of the British Empire when he arrives in London after his wounding at the Battle of Maiwand in Afghanistan. A quickening pace. Conan Doyle moved to London in March 1891. He had abandoned his struggling medical practice on England's south coast and was planning to set up shop as an ophthalmic surgeon. The first Roland Holmes short stories were written during the following month and began appearing in the newly founded The Strand magazine soon afterward. This time the sleuth was an instant success, and nothing could have prepared Conan Doyle for the reader's enthusiasm. Holmes's popularity also ensured the success of The Strand itself, since all of the detective's subsequent outings appeared there, before being published in book form. Conan Doyle was paid €300 for the last 6 stories in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, dwarfing the €25 for which he had sold A Study in Scarlet. And when The Adventures was published as a book in October 1892, the author dedicated it to Joseph Bell, the Edinburgh medical professor on whom Holmes had been partly based. A complex character. Watson's famous list of Holmes's intellectual faculties is featured in A Study in Scarlet. Indeed, at this point, it seems that the detective is a pure reasoning machine. However, in The Sign of Forth, cocaine use and violin playing reveal other elements of his character, perhaps influenced by the cult of aestheticism. Holmes displays a type of world-weariness so affected that it is known not as boredom, but rather by the French term ennui. Yet, conversely, the second novel brims with the kind of physical action that is absent from the first. In fact, Holmes perpetually defies Watson's preconceptions, a result of Conan Doyle's occasional inconsistencies, perhaps, or even the detective's own evasiveness. Yet, for all the variations in his character traits, Holmes's physical appearance was set in these early years as Sidney Paget's drawings first appeared alongside the stories in The Strand. Holmes's image was based on the artist's brother Walter, completed with the addition of the famous deerstalker hat, bringing it all back home. A thread of the exotic runs through the early stories, from the Indian backstory in The Sign of Forth and Grimsby Roylott's Indian swamp adder in The Speckled Band, to the penal transportation of British criminals to Australia in the Boscombe Valley Mystery, and Elias Openshaw's exploits in the United States Civil War in The 5 Orange Pips. There is also a marked sense of playfulness in these early stories. The Red-Headed League, with its gullible pawnbroker Jabez Wilson, is a case in point, as is the duo's brush with European loyalty in A Scandal in Bohemia. In this story, Holmes' admiration for the adventurous Irene Adler also sets the tone for the frequent shift of sympathies between high society clients and supposed criminals. In this chapter, novels: A Study in Scarlet 1887, The Sign of Forth 1890, collection, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes 1892, A Scandal in Bohemia, The Red-Headed League, A Case of Identity, The Boscombe Valley Mystery, The 5 Orange Pips, The Man with the Twisted Lip, The Blue Carbuncle, The Speckled Band, The Engineer's Thumb, The Noble Bachelor, The Beryl Coronet, The Copper Beeches.